The following program is brought to you by Hilltop Productions.
The podcast no one listens to with Kevin Porter.
Nice. Part 4, take it one more time. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Kevin Porter here, back on the podcast that no one listens to. Dude, we're fucking back. I'm so excited, dude. I'm always excited to bring you a brand new episode. Week in, week out, dude. Rain or shine. Doesn't matter, dude. It snowed last night. Guess what? You're still getting a podcast. What's up, dude? So, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. Missed very few podcasts in the last couple of years, dude. We've been doing this shit strong, dude. This is going into our 4th motherfucking year, dude. 2021. Hello. So, I don't know. What's up with you guys? This is kind of just where I sit around and talk and just we talk about life. We talk about things that are going on. What makes us go bump in the day? It's like, well, typically it's not cocaine, so hopefully we're staying away from that there. But I digress. To you, the viewer out there in internet land. Feel pretty good, dude. Feeling pretty good this week, honestly. Like I've been able to actually exercise. The first thing the first time I've actually legitimately applied myself back into a routine. And I'm feeling pretty fucking good, dude. I'm feeling pretty good. Recorded a really awesome episode of Are You Ready? A professional wrestling podcast, which you can check out every single Monday. Another very consistent podcast that you're going to get like clockwork, 4:20 in the morning every single Monday. But it's a nostalgic professional wrestling podcast, dude. And this week, dude, in celebration of the Royal Rumble a week from this coming Sunday, we covered the Royal Rumble 1999, dude. Everybody's favorite Royal Rumble. So go check that out. Check out our past archives. Give us a 5-star review, man. I mean, you could be one of the many that's dropping the 5-star on our podcast page. It's like, motherfucker, I don't have an iPhone. It's like, can't help you there, buddy. Those things are like $1,000, man, to buy that shit brand new. It's like, I don't have $1,000 to spend on a fucking iPhone. So with that being said, dude, what's up with you guys? We got John Riggs, as you saw on the marquee. John Riggs making his very first appearance here on the podcast that no one listens to. And it's really cool, dude. I mean, like, it was really cool how this happened. Like, basically, I'm just a fucking fan of John Riggs, dude. Like, you know, I just fucking follow video game stuff. As you can see in my background, dude, like, we're into very similar things. So, and he's got a lot of mutual friends, you know. It's like, you know, as past guests on here, he knows Brandon Huck, Timmy, which we talk about right off the top once we get to that spot there. But yeah, no, we know a lot of the same people. So I just hit him up. You know, I was like, hey man, you know, I live in the same town as you. I have a weekly podcast. Would you like to come on and be a guest? So yeah, dude, totally one of the coolest, you know, cause like, I don't know, man, like I talk about it. I don't know. I always talk about it on these podcasts, you know, like we're almost to 200 episodes, dude. And basically, man, I kind of use this I've always used this podcast as a way of just kind of get to know people, you know, in a sense. Cause like, I mean, you always meet people, you see them, you know, you talk to them a little bit, but you don't really like spend time going one-on-one. So it's like, boom, here, we have a podcast. Like, let's just fucking record it, dude. Because, like, why not, dude? It's like, what else are we fucking doing in this world right now to where, like, it's just like, let's fucking create, dude. And it's like, I don't know. I've always thought podcasting is a wonderful art, you know, the art of a conversation, the art of being a human being. I don't fucking know what kind of stupid shit is, like, coming out of my mouth right there. It's like, what? We don't fucking do shit like that on this podcast. No, sir, Bob, dude. We talk about, I don't know, 80s porn. What? Holy shit, dude. I actually looked that shit up on eBay today. I was like, fucking 80s fucking VHS porn. Let's do it, baby. You can't fucking find that shit, dude. You can't fucking find that shit. Like, you can maybe find some, like, sketchy-ass websites, but it's like one of those things where it's like, I've learned my lesson here. I'm not going to put my credit card information on this, you know, this fucking website with the unsecure logo. It's like, it's pretty easy to know which ones are the good ones and which ones are the bad ones. They make it pretty easy for you guys. When you're out there, you know, on the internet. But we can sound so proper when we say that, the internet. It's like, I'm going to get a job saying that one day. It's like, welcome to the internet. Whoa, did you guys, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm feeling good though. Like I said, dude, I got a good couple days in of like working out. Dude, like, oh shit. I guess it would have been Tuesday, dude, because I was like Mondays. I hit it fucking hard, dude. I hit it hard. Got in there, dude. I was like lifting weights. I'm like 1, 2, 1, 2. You know, like it doesn't help. Like I have like a fucking 20-pound weight and a 35-pound weight. So I'm just like, oh, you know, like I know, like I don't know, dude. Like I'm just like I'm working with what I have, dude. You know, I'm working with what I have. You know, you drop down, do 20 push-ups, you know, do fucking 20 squats, boom, boom, you fucking nail them hard. Then you got on the elliptical, and like basically I'm not like trying to like time myself out or anything. I'm just like, all right, just until I start sweating like a motherfucker, that's when I get off, dude. So it's like, I don't know, I feel it in my, you know, chest this week, dude. It feels like, you know, I can take really deep breaths. Like, you know, mentally I feel good and like just being able to do that. And it's like, I don't know if you know, obviously I don't know how many of you out there, if this is your first time watching us, like, as I said, dude, we got 200 episodes of fucking, you know, just like life, dude. It's like, that's all this podcast is. It's just us, like, you know, living life. You know, that's all this is, dude. It's me sitting here in front of a fucking microphone, you know, talking about my days and shit. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. You can't find 80s porn, though, on the fucking internet. I don't know. So, dude, I watched A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, dude. And now wait a minute. Before you go off yelling, Kevin Porter, fucking Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5 is like the worst, dude. Freddy's dead. It's Freddy's dead. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5 are considered like, no, actually, I don't know, dude. I don't know. That's a good question. Like, how do you rank the worst Nightmare? I mean, obviously, okay, let's start off with ranking the fucking remake. The remake is it's like, I tried to give it a chance, dude. I tried to give that fucking movie a chance. I went and saw that in theaters in 2010. I walked out there like, hey, what's it? I wanted like feel like I spent, you know, actually I didn't pay for that movie. Someone else paid for that ticket, I remember. But I remember walking out there just being like, you know, like the old Uptown Plaza here in Yakima, dude, before we had the fucking, you know, the Orion. Oh, the fancy Orion. I'm going to the Orion tonight. I'm going to go see them a show. You know, and it's like, no, dude, the Uptown Plaza was this dirty-ass fucking movie theater. The rumor was always that they picked up the popcorn and fucking served it back to you. Obviously, that was never true. But I remember hearing that shit as a kid, dude. But that was the movie theater you'd always sneak into rated R films for, dude. Like, as a kid, dude, I remember seeing Bride of Chucky. We went and saw Beyond the Mat, like this like rated R documentary about professional wrestling, which ironically covers the 1999 Royal Rumble, which is like the episode we're dropping this coming Monday on Are You Ready, dude? So like, wow, it's weird how that shit fucking works, man. It's life, dude. I'm telling you. Tune in every single day for life. It won't let you down. I don't know. What the fuck? It's like, just get to the fucking guest already, you son of a bitch. So, you know, ranking the Nightmare on Elm Streets. Yeah. So this, yeah, I tried to, but dude, I rewatched it. And I even like, because I go through periodically and I'll rewatch all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I'll take a horror franchise and I'll like pit them against each other. So I'll start with the first one, and you know, of each of them I'll go, you know, Phantasm 1, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1, you know, and then Phantasm 2, you know, and vice, you know, you go down the fucking line there. Which, dude, yeah, fucking Phantasm 5 Ravager, dude, fuck that piece of shit. I know I'm on record a couple weeks ago talking some shit about that. Maybe not. I don't even remember these podcasts sometimes, dude. But I'll say it right now. Fuck that movie, dude. Piece of shit. But yeah, dude, Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, go fuck yourself. So with that being said, dude, John Riggs is on the podcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's it, dude. Like, again, dude, check us out, dude. We're on Facebook. We have a Facebook. Go give us a like there. Whatever. I really don't give a shit, dude. I don't fucking want, like, I hate social media. That's one thing you'll learn about me, dude. Like, I don't know if I talk about it on this podcast, but like, I just don't like social media, dude. I think it's a piece of shit. And it doesn't serve a purpose in, I don't know, just get out of here, Kevin. What are you doing with your conspiracy shit? Get the fuck out of here. Go post a fucking meme, you stupid son of a bitch. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I give you John Riggs.
All aboard!
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to podcast no one listens to for the very first time. We're welcoming John Riggs, dude. How's it going?
Good, man. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling a little flustered, man. I started running into a bunch of like technical difficulties like before getting on here. It's like my Wi-Fi was just like moving at a snail's pace. So like when I text you, I was like, I don't even know if like Messenger is gonna load and I can even send you the invite. I'm gonna need to get your email address. Like I was getting all flustered, dude.
Yeah, well, we're kind of like we're in pretty close proximity. I could probably just open a window and yell loud enough. Might be able to.
We could have easily done that, dude. Or we could have written letters back and forth and just posted online too.
There we go. I know. I got a pigeon around here somewhere. I can just tie a message to it and
just send it out the window. Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, no, dude. Oh man. So I've been wanting to get you on this podcast for some time, man. I first became aware of you through your YouTube videos. John Riggs on YouTube.com there, and dude,
right.
And like when I found out like you were from Yakima, because I found out like kind of like the main mutual friend that we have is Timmy over there at 94.5 Cats.
Sure. Oh yeah, I've known him for years.
Yeah, and Brandon Huck also. Those are the two main people I've heard heard your name about from.
Yeah, totally. No, I've known Timmy and I went to school together. We went to radio school together back when the tech center was the skill center at the Yakima Valley College at YVC. And I was a first-year student when he was coming back for a second year. And how the radio class worked then was you kind of do like the radio class 1 year, and then you pretty much have all the tools you need, all the skills you need, whatever, if you want to get a job. That was during, that was also the local hiring center for like the local radio station. So when they needed a new employee, just like someone to like, just run sound engineering on a local sports game or something like that, they would hire from the skill center. That's where Timmy got his job. And then if you do a second year, it's like well, I've already learned everything, but now I'm just here to help out the other kids too.
Right.
Just for further education. So I met Timmy through that, just being a first year student when he was a second year. And Brandon I've known for years just because we're both kind of game collectors, video game collectors. Yeah. So we run into each other at the same yard sales and swap meets and
yeah.
Well, I mean, he's part of the local music scene and stuff like that too. So, just by nature of doing the same kinds of things in the same areas. I mean, it just inevitably, we start, just started keeping in contact with each other. Good dude. Yeah, both of them. I love both of them. Yeah,
Yakima's like one of those towns, dude. It's like you either know everybody or you know everybody, but there's that one person like you just haven't like actually met,
Oh my God. No, there's people like even just through Facebook, there'll be people who will, like friends of acquaintances or whatever, and I'll like see them and they'll have like, we'll have 300 friends in common. I'm like, I have no idea who this person is.
Right. Well, that's how I kind of felt with you when I first messaged you. I was like, dude, we got like 47 like mutual friends on this one.
Oh, sure. I know, like old high school buddies, and like you said, just people in the local community who just hang out long enough, you'll end up talking to the same people eventually, inevitably.
And here we are on the podcast.
And here we are. Yeah, I know. It's just Yakima's my hometown too. I was born and raised here. I moved away for a while, but I ended up moving back. So
where'd you guys move to, or where'd you move to?
In the early 2000s, I moved to Idaho Falls, Idaho, which is, you think Idaho's right next to Washington, which it is, but that's only like the panhandle part. I was like on the southeast side of Idaho, more towards like Salt Lake City and Yellowstone National Park and all that, right next to the Grand Tetons.
Oh, wow.
Cool area. I mean, it's a great area if you want to be there. I mean, it's kind of like, and people who are outside of the Northwest probably won't get this analogy, but it's a little bit like Wenatchee. Like once you're there, it's okay, but you have to want to get there. It's this weird road. There's no convenient route to get there. But once you're there, it's cool. And very much like Yakima too, where there's like the main town, but then all the cool downtown businesses are now super eclectic, and then all the big businesses are going to the suburb of town, and then there's a nearby college town, and there's a nearby Indian reservation with the casinos and all that. So I was like, I felt right at home as soon as I moved in.
Feels just like Yakima, dude, for sure.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So I was I don't know, Idaho Falls for 5 years. Moved to I was in Tri-Cities, which is like an hour drive away from Yakima. I was there for about 2 years. Just last in Casper, Wyoming, before I moved back to Yakima.
Oh wow, dude, Casper, Wyoming, dude. The only reason I'm aware of Casper, Wyoming is just because WCW Monday Nitro back in the day, dude. We actually recently just covered for my other podcast I do. It's called Are You Ready? A professional wrestling podcast. We did a Nitro. Nice. Yeah, we did. Sure. We did the sold out, or not the sold out, but the Road Wild event back in '96, the very first one. And I just for shits and giggles, the next day I checked out the very next Nitro just to kind of see where the storyline continued to, because I couldn't remember it, being all the years since seeing it originally on TNT. And yeah, dude, straight up like came from Casper, Wyoming. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So that's cool you bring that name up.
Yeah, Chris Jericho, his first I want to say like his first licensed character gimmick.
Mhm.
He didn't ask for it, but he was Cowboy Chris Urban from Casper, Wyoming, and he talks about that in his book and stuff like that too. And it's cool with that too because you'd always get like, especially here in the Northwest, Yakima is not the biggest town ever, but it's big enough to have an arena. So
Right.
we would get the Nitros, the Raws, the Smackdowns, usually in Seattle, Tacoma, Portland, Spokane, and then we'd get like the house shows, like the local shows.
Yeah,
But there was a time
exactly.
where
Mhm.
I want to say it was no, it wasn't Halloween Havoc. It was WCW did a pay-per-view on August 11th in Tacoma at the Tacoma Dome, and then they did Nitro here in Yakima on April 12th. And I remember it was April 12th because it was my birthday.
Yep.
And it was when they unveiled the new set that nobody liked and nobody asked for with the new logo.
Dude, I
and
hated that set.
people kept
so
on falling
much.
on their ass when they're
Yeah.
walking down to the ring because it's just sheer metal. I was like, that was the dumbest idea ever. But it was a good show though. I mean, it's on the network.
Yeah,
I
dude,
popped it up
Spring
once.
Stampede. That was the pay-per-view the night
That's
before.
right.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
Spring Stampede. That was a good show. I mean, I watched that one, and then I,
Mhm.
coming back to Yakima, then I watched. And we're also time delayed because we're West Coast. So,
Oh yeah.
so for us and people on the East Coast don't realize this. There were no Monday Night Wars because we would watch Nitro live
Yeah.
at like 5 o'clock, and then right when it ended, then Raw started. So we just flipped this, turn the channel, and you're good to go. So we
We
would
were
watch.
good to go.
Watched Nitro live, and then go home and we turn on TV and then we watched what we just watched, a couple hours ago. in the,
like
in the
what you
Sun
saw
Dome.
live. Yeah, dude. No, I totally remember that WCW Nitro because that was like my very first like wrestling event that I ever attended. I was like, I don't know, I was like 13 years old, dude. I just remember being a kid in a candy store, man, just walking in there, seeing the ring for the first time, and yeah, like you said, the shitty entrance. I was like so disappointed. I was like, what the hell? Where's the cool entrance with like all the fire and stuff?
Right.
Like, come on,
I knew about the new logo, but yeah, that entrance was just, it wasn't a good look, man. I don't know what happened, but it was I mean, it was something anyway.
No, dude.
It was good. It was a good show though. I mean, Sting opened up, and I watched it for the Luchadors mostly, so it was cool to see Psychosis and all them, and
Rey
we'll see
Mysterio
the
without the
DDP was
mask.
there. Yeah, that's right. The filthy animals or dirty, whatever they're called.
Yeah,
I think it was filthy
yeah.
animals. Yeah, long time ago.
I think like looking back on it on that show, the one thing I always tell people, it's like you saw Ric Flair and Sting like live in person in the Sun Dome, dude. Like that historic rivalry. It's like
Yeah.
we gotta see that in person.
Well, it's cool to see. Like, it's cool to go there for the first time because you're like, that's the ring. It looks small. Just like
Yeah,
you always see what the camera angle is like. When you think about it, it's like no, they only take about 3 steps to go from rope to rope. So that's it's a proper sized ring.
Yeah, the WCW ring was like they always talked about how that was always smaller compared to the WWF ring.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it just sounds harder too. Like it just sounds like it's just stacks of plywood or something. I don't know why. Especially on the network, I'll watch like old like WCW from like 92, 93 stuff like that, and like when you like slam them to the ground, you're just like, ooh, that doesn't sound like it tickles.
There's not a lot of padding there, that's for sure.
It doesn't sound like it anyway.
Yeah. So do you well, I guess like now with like post COVID and everything, I heard they're like about pretty much going to be phasing out the house shows here at this coming year and stuff because they're just one, they weren't making any money off them to begin with, and 2, now it's like now they don't want the people like traveling all across the country like that.
I don't know, man. I haven't heard one way or another. Admittedly, I haven't really ever since COVID hit. When you remove the live audience from like watching wrestling on television, it's like it just takes away so much of the energy. So I still kind of follow it, but I haven't really been watching it much. I'm watching the new stuff anyway. But once it lifts, we'll see.
It was hard to get used to those first couple of weeks with because I don't have cable, but like I do follow it through like I follow like Raw and SmackDown mainly through like podcasts and stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And so occasionally though, I would, I'll definitely watch the pay-per-views every month, like so. But I just remember like when COVID hit and like WrestleMania came out, I was just so disappointed. I was like, I don't even want to watch it. And then they had the Undertaker like AJ Styles match, and it was like, okay, well that was worth it.
Yeah, the film stuff, and and maybe more of that's going to be the way to go. I mean, we saw that with back when Matt Hardy did that with
A Broken Universe and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, it's just I mean, it's ever evolving and ever changing, and once vaccines start going out and once they open it up, I mean, AEW does have some live people there, so
yeah, exactly.
Eventually down the line, I mean, just kind of just gotta wait and see what happens.
Wait and see. That's right, dude.
Well, hey, man, I want to ask you, dude, like, with your YouTube page, man, I mean, it seems like it's pretty, I mean, just looking through your videos, man, it seems like you've, like, become really successful off that. I was just kind of wondering, like, how did you get into, doing the video game, videos on there on YouTube?
Oh, it was a lot of peer pressure. Is really what it came down to.
Yeah.
I had no interest in it for the longest time. It wasn't until I lived in Idaho where I had a coworker of mine at the radio station. So I worked on radio in Idaho, and he started out as just someone who'd call in and kind of just play along, play with the radio contests. And if you get the same people calling in all the time, you kind of get to know the listeners in a way. And that's the same with any radio station. But he would always call in, and he had a good sense of humor and good wit about him, and he'd always play along and always had a great time. He eventually, after a few years, just ended up getting a job there, just part-time, because we're like, oh, we like his personality, and that's kind of where he wanted to go, just be entertaining. It's like, sure, why not, and he was, and after talking to him for a while, he was like, oh, I do this kind of YouTube thing just for fun too. And this is back in like 2000, had to have been like 2006, 2007, something like that. And he's like, oh, I just make these funny videos for YouTube. I'm like, really? Like, and people watch them? I mean, because I knew of YouTube, but I'd only watch YouTube for, old wrestling clips, or I'd watch, look up old Headbangers Ball music videos or something like that,
Yeah. It was like all really short videos too, is kind of what YouTube was known for, like originally in like 06 and stuff too.
Well, yeah, because that's all your computer could handle on it, like on a dial-up, assuming you have a dial-up, or, not once, cable internet started becoming a thing.
Cable internet.
I mean, everyone's service was so slow, so you could only do kind of like these short, kind of low res, like real-time player type stuff. So when YouTube came about, and I looked up his channel. I mean, at the time, he already had like 200,000 subscribers. I'm like, oh my god, people, wow. And I was trying to figure it out back in 2006. So I was like, so you're telling me that people signed up for, which is free, which I never did at the time, but I was like, so they actually sign in and they subscribe to you. So when you post a new video, they know that they can watch it. And he was like, oh yeah, that's kind of how it works. I was like, that's so interesting. And it's funny because now he has millions of subscribers, and
that's awesome.
Both him and his wife and his whole family, and they have other channels too. So he was the first one who I knew, and this is before you could even make money on YouTube. It was just for fun. It wasn't until you could sign up to be part of a network service. It's like, they'll handle your channel and then kind of pay you to be there depending on whatever. And he was the first one I've ever heard of who was actually making money on YouTube and made enough to quit his job and move to Los Angeles, because he made that much money. I was like, oh my god, that's
so cool.
And that's kind of where it got started for me. But it still wasn't for me, because I didn't watch YouTube for all that. But I had a friend who did, and he was I had a friend I've known since high school, and he was the one who said, dude, you have all the, you play all these video games, you have all these old video games, you're really knowledgeable. You should have, you should have a YouTube channel. There's this guy that, they call him Angry Video Game Nerd. At the time they called him Angry Nintendo Nerd or something like that. He's like, oh, you'd love him. He's great. And I watched like one of his videos. I was like, oh, he's cool, but he's a character, later on, and he's a great guy too when you meet him in real life. But at the time, I'm just like, okay, I get it. It's still not me though. He's like, oh no, just do a channel. You should do a channel. And he was the first one I ever heard of who actually canceled his cable subscription just because he watched YouTube videos. He's like, I got everything I need right there, and it's free.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I was like, that's so weird. And then after just years of harassment saying, dude, you got to start a channel, that wasn't until I met my friend Jason, Metal Jesus. He's because he's a Northwest guy. He's in Seattle, and he goes to the same conventions, and we started talking once, and he found out I was really into Japanese video games. And he was like, oh, do you want to come on my channel and talk about Japanese video games, Japanese Nintendo games, Famicom games? I was like, yeah, I can do that. I'll bring some over, and Seattle close enough. I'm in Seattle often enough anyway. So came by, hopped on his channel. My first couple of videos with him on his channel, I don't even plug my own channel because I don't have one yet. But after a while, he was just like, even he was like, you should start your own channel. You can start your own channel. And at the time I was doing some kind of like video editing just for my own practice, but it was more for radio station stuff, not for YouTube. But then as it went on with the harassment from my friend, and then with Jason saying, and it was cool to be on Metal Jesus channel because he did all the editing. I just show up and talk about video games.
Dude, right? That's the easiest spot when you just got to show up and do your thing. Yeah. You don't got to worry about nothing.
It's like me being on this podcast. It's like, as soon as I'm done, I'm done. You're the one who has to, edit it and upload it and promote it. And that's my hands are clean after that,
Exactly.
So after a while, then I was like, oh, you know what? I can start a channel, and I can use that as a placeholder I do these Nintendo hacks. So I can start doing that. And then that's when people started to kind of roll in a little bit, where it's like, oh, here's a guy who does Nintendo games. Can you make a Nintendo hack for me? Because I'd put like, I'll turn like the Legend of Zelda into a wedding proposal
Oh, that's so cool, dude.
for a couple who wanted
really?
to do that. And the more I started doing that, and the more I started posting videos like that, that's when other people were like, "Oh, hey, can you make a game for me? Or I want to give this game to someone for a gift. Can you make it for me and I'll pay you for it and all that?" And there is kind of a, I mean, there's got to be a legality in there somewhere saying it's like I can't just hack the graphics of a video game and then sell it for profit. So I was like, well, I can at least do a tutorial series on how I edit video games or how I hack Nintendo games, so you can do it, kind of thing. So that's kind of where my channel got started way back in the day. Where
Teach
I
a man
started
how
doing
to fish. They'll eat for days.
I'm trying because it's also very time consuming, but it's like it's not as hard as you think. I'll show you what I do.
Right.
And then sometimes it's kind of like watching cooking channels. I love watching cooking channels, but I don't bake everything I see. It's like, oh, look at that cake. That looks amazing. I will never make it, but I know how it's made now. So it's kind of like with that, where the just turned into something interesting. And then just from there, I was just like, oh, I'll just start, posting more videos. And then, fast forward to a few years later, and here I am talking to you.
I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, I was going through like a lot of your videos, and like I like the you kind of like the ranking of all the old video game companies and whatnot out there, dude.
Sure.
I really like. I was gonna ask like what is the average time? Like, what does it take? Like in terms of like getting the idea, putting it to paper, getting it on camera, and then editing, and then putting it online. I mean, like, what are you looking at for an average video?
My radio experience comes into play because I don't use a script. I can just go off the cuff because I've also I've done afternoon radio, I've done morning radio, I've done me and someone else daily and stuff like that. So I might have bullet points if anything, but to actually make a video like that, I usually and I capture all my own footage too, so I have to
that takes a while too. Yeah, I bet
it can. So I mean, but I know I'm going to talk about any game on those ranking videos. I'll probably talk about it for about a minute at most.
Okay.
So I usually grab about 3 minutes if I can, hopefully. But that's also like, I have to get to a certain point of the game where the game doesn't look completely boring, past the tutorial stage or whatever.
Like, why is he only play the first 3 minutes of the video game in every video?
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, that's also the first impression too. So I mean, usually like depending on how many games a company made, let's say if they made 20 games, maybe on average it might take me an hour to get all the footage. And then I have to talk about it. So I have to get all the box art, and I post all the box art in that. It's Tier Maker. It's free. Everyone can use it. But I put all the box art there so I can actually rank them and have a visual gallery of where I would rank them anyway. And it's all opinion based too, which is great because that's when people in the comments are like, "How dare you give that game this is definitely worth this. Well, that game's terrible. Why do you like it?" And then I just turn on the camera and start recording. And I already I just played the game, so I already kind of know what I'm talking about, and I've already played all these games before in the past too, so it's not like I'm playing this game for the first time. I grew up with the NES, my favorite system of all time.
Right.
I had at one point I was missing not too many of them. I was about 20 games away from having a complete set.
Are you serious?
Of one of every Nintendo game, and I got that far until I realized every game I have to get now are all sports games, and I don't really dig sports games, so I'm not gonna. I don't care. But I played them all, so it's like, well, I've done this before. So once I do that, once I have at least me talking about it, the visual thing of where the things rank, and I have all the footage. Fortunately, I'm also at our radio stations. I'm our production guy. I'm our sound guy.
Nice,
so I'm the one. I make all the radio commercials, and editing video is a lot like editing audio. It's just there's the extra element of video. So my editing, I edit videos like I edit audio, where I just remove all the breaths and remove all the breaks and just make it as tight as possible.
Yeah.
And then click upload.
Dude, that's what's up, man. It takes a real talent, dude, for sure. And it's definitely, a learned talent for, or a learned, it's over time you get a lot better with it. Cause I remember, because like you, dude, I started at the Skill Center as well, doing the TV video production class.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And when I took the class, it was like right when they transitioned to linear edit or non-linear editing or whatever. So we're just using Apple computers all the time, just using Final Cut. And like, yeah, dude, I remember because I produced a TV show back in the day on public access, and like if you watch our videos from like 2005, it's like, oh no, make it an hour, and it's like all these. You watch it back now, it's like could have cut that. It's like,
oh sure,
you really just develop it's like a second nature in a sense. You're just able to just like. You know exactly what you need, you know exactly how to get it, and you just get in there and get it out. Because like you said, with me having to like go in and edit this, dude, like I probably spend like maybe like between the editing and the uploading and everything, dude, it's probably like maybe less than an hour getting everything put together, you know? So it's like, again, you just kind of get in there and know exactly how to do it, lay it out. Because like a lot of stuff I would imagine, like you have like, you know, any sort of like graphics and stuff that's all saved on your computer and you just kind of go to it. And
for sure. Yeah.
Put it where you need.
And you will have, and I mean, and that's the first part. I mean, once you actually hit upload and all that, that's
Right.
then your job's almost done. But then with YouTube, you have to create a thumbnail, which is like your movie poster, and you have to be.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
if the thumbnail's not good, then no one's going to click on it, so your video won't even care. Or if they can't tell what it is immediately,
Right.
you know, you
Right.
want it to be good clickbait, but not like lying about it kind of thing. And the headline has to be there and everything, and then and then once you post it, then you got to make sure you share it where you're supposed to share it, maybe, or hopefully let YouTube kind of run its course and do its thing. And there's a lot of things to consider with all that. And some people just, they have one video a week. Some people do a video every day, which sounds like a lot. But again, I have 3 children and I have a full-time job and I have, I have all these other things in my life too. So YouTube, total side hustle. It's a complete hobby. But it's a hobby that's been a lot of fun, and I've met a lot of cool people because of it. And I mean, literally just this morning, I got a DM from AJ Styles of all people saying, "Dude, I just found your YouTube channel," and I posted it on my face. It's on my Facebook now too. But I just he was just like, "Hey, I just saw your channel. You're right. Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 for the 64 is the best wrestling game ever." Wow. I was like, "Oh my god!" It's like my daughter is literally wearing your shirt right now. We actually we have the shirt and everything. I got the action figure. So,
like, let me send you a picture. I'm not lying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so just things like that. It gets me and gives me. Before COVID, we had all these video game conventions. So just like there's Comic Cons and there's sneaker collectors and stuff. I mean, there's conventions for everything, but they have these video game conventions all across the United States. So it gives me a chance to also fly out and travel a little bit and go to New York or go to Phoenix or wherever these conventions are, and just kind of hang out and try the local food and drink the local beer and all that. And, meet the locals.
Yeah.
Oh, always. Yeah. I love doing that. It's, YouTube like radio. And maybe it helps me a lot because I had that radio background where I'm used to talking to nobody. I'm used to just sitting in a box by myself, hoping someone's on the other side of the camera, whether it be the other side of the microphone, you don't know. But what's cool with YouTube is there actually shows stats of, who's actually watching your thing. Well, with radio, it's just out in the ether and, speed of light, maybe someone's listening in their car. I don't know.
Maybe not. You never
hard
know.
to tell. I mean, I know you gotta give away something. It's like, please call it number 9. Let me know you're there.
Let me know you're breathing.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Feel lonely over here.
No, I totally get that, man. I mean, I kind of feel the same way doing this podcast, dude. It's just, again, like, I definitely don't have the viewership that, you're obtaining at the moment, dude. But, like, at the same time, it's like you see the numbers, you see people watching it, and you're like, okay, I guess we're doing something right here.
Yeah, and I mean, the analytics don't lie. I mean, that's why they're there. It's nice to be able to show, because sometimes you don't know if a song's doing well or not, unless people call up and request it. Or you
do
just
people still do that? Is that still something people do? Like calling
not as often as they used
to.
Not as often. Well, I mean, because radio is also not what it used to be too.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, even when I was still on the radio in Idaho Falls back in the 2000s, I mean, my phone lines were always flashing with people either just calling them want to make a request. On 94.5 Cats, I was the overnight guy for a while too. And you get people calling from gas stations who are bored. You get truckers who are just driving through town. They just want a human being to talk to. Just another adult oh yeah, I'm grabbing apples and I'm driving back to New Jersey and I got. This station comes in pretty clear, for the next hour and a half. And I was like, well, I'm sitting here for an hour and a half. If you want to chat about, nothing in particular,
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. When it came to like, when people like, make the requests, cause like, I don't know if I ever asked Timmy this, but like when you make because it's like already on automation, right? So like how much consideration really goes into those requests that get made when people call in?
It depends on the person and the programming. I never had a problem with it. I mean, if someone called in to make a request and they had a valid reason for the request and they were cool that I played back the phone call on the air, why wouldn't I help them out? And because chances are the song that they're going to request, it's coming up anyways. Unless we just played it. If we just played it like half an hour ago, then it won't be soon. But I'll at least save the phone call so when the song does come up, because usually, especially like on KFFM, which is our top 40 station, I mean, it's the same 20 songs. So if they're going to call and make a
Right.
request, it's probably going to be the song that's coming up next anyway.
It's a good point. It's a good point, man. I remember back in the day, like, cause like, you know, I remember I probably listened to the radio like pretty heavily up until around like 2006, 2007. It seems like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was, yeah, dude. I
Yeah.
just
It's
remember
still
the
there.
people
I mean,
doing it.
Yeah, and radio still. I mean, they have these stats and figures every year that still, that still says radio is the #1 place to experience new music. I mean, we know Pandora is a thing, and
Yeah.
satellite radio, and of course, I mean, even YouTube, Amazon, and all these things. But they still say radio is the #1 place where people experience like new music as far as new songs go.
That makes sense.
As my daughter Lily just pointed out, TikTok has been huge for music, because they'll do these little dances and they only hear the clip, just, here's the hook of the song. And then they want to hear that song more. And then it gets stuck in their head. And, they go on from there, whether it be a Cardi B or, and so many people are making these TikTok songs based on, songs from the 80s and 90s. So they're re-experiencing, sometimes like these old songs will come back in fashion again. They won't know where it comes from, but it's like, man, I remember that. I remember that from when I was a kid,
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I know. And it's just, it's fun to get kids into like older stuff like that. Cause like, especially it feels like if you just try to like, force it on, you're like, hey, this is RoboCop, like it, they're like kind of like, whoa, like, let's calm down here, old man. Like
it's a little gruesome by today's standards, by a lot. Especially if you get like the non-edit, like the steamroller scene or whatever. But
oh man.
I mean, there's but that's also, I mean, that's just with anything, with movies, with or with video games. I mean, my kids grew up with, I have everything from the Atari 2600 to, I mean, now I have the PlayStation 5, I have an Xbox Series S, but I have the Oculus Quest 2 and all that. So,
yeah.
I mean, they grew up with video games being video games. There wasn't anything new, old. I mean, because I would play, I'd play Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and then when I was done with that, I would go play the Legend of Zelda for the NES, and it was no big, it was no big deal. And it's funny, you look at Switch games now, most of the Switch like indie games, like the Nintendo's like, oh, here's the new indie showcase of all these great new indie games coming out. They all look like old Nintendo games anyway.
Yeah,
so it's like, it's all that 8-bit style.
It's
cool.
cool.
It's good news for me. Yeah, I'll take it. I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna keep you with content moving forward. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I primarily prefer going back and playing like the 16-bit and the 8-bit consoles, and like even 64, dude. Like 64 when I was a kid, dude. That was like hands down like one of my favorite consoles. But still to this day, dude, my Sega Genesis, dude. It's like one of my prized possessions, dude.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of all of those. I was, we had our own console wars back in the day with like Nintendo versus Sega and all that, and I loved both, and I loved my TurboGrafx 16. I was that one kid in school.
Oh, that's awesome. Dude.
Who also had a TurboGrafx 16, just because I mean, it had Bonk's Adventure and it had all these other military madness and stuff like that. It was its own quirky little system that could, and it did gangbusters in Japan. Just didn't have a whole lot of support in America, but it's still have my Turbo Express, and it doesn't work right now, but gotta get that fixed again.
Did you collect a lot of the gaming magazines back in the day? Is that still something you still have, or did you collect?
I have some. I say some, I mean a lot. But I mean, I liked them just because we didn't have the internet back then.
Yeah.
So it was just cool to see. I mean, that was back in the days where you could go to, I mean, not just like a Safeway and see what new magazines they had on the rack, but we had like Walden's and B. Dalton's and all that too, Walden Books. And there was a lot to choose from too. I mean, there was the main ones. I mean, Nintendo Power was subscription only, at least at first. But yeah, between like EGM and I think I literally have a stack of them behind me actually. I mean, like, yeah, I sure do.
No, nice.
Like trying to get me.
Yeah, that's what's
I have
up.
a whole stack of them back here. But then even like going to like video game conventions, it's cool to go there, and I mean sometimes people will sell them for a couple bucks each or whatever. It's like, oh, it's old reading material, and looking through some of those old magazines, I'll rediscover games that I forgot even happened. Just because there's, I mean, if you go online, you could, I mean, anybody can go online with a Raspberry Pi. I literally have my Raspberry Pi in a Super Nintendo case. It's a Pi. I mean, it's an emulator system. But anybody can just download every Nintendo game, every Sega Genesis game, every Super Nintendo game, every Game Boy game. But then you're confronted with like, I don't even know what to play. I guess I'll just play.
It's so
I've heard of Mario. I'll play Sonic, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's so many great other, all these other great games that, people just haven't experienced because they didn't come from that generation. So they'll play what's familiar to them, which is the same as today. It's like, oh, every E3, every PAX, every Nintendo Direct, they're always like, please announce the sequel to this other game. Nobody wants a new game. Nobody wants a new idea.
Yeah.
They want the remake,
Yeah.
because it's familiar to them and they already know what they're getting into. But with all these other great games, I mean, fortunately for us, we grew up during a time where we could rent video games all the time. So we had Crazy Mike's Video, we had Blockbuster, we had
Crazy
Hollywood
Mike's.
Video. Crazy Mike's was
Love
my
it.
stop. That was my favorite place in town for sure. And even just that Nob Hill Plaza area where you had Crazy Mike's, Blockbuster, Video Up. I worked at Video Update for.
I remember
Video.
Video Update.
It was the only store in the center of town that had porn. So I mean, good news there. And then even Safeway had video games. You could rent you could rent games at Safeway even at the time. There was no lack of and then different places had different things. Blockbuster was the first one that had PlayStation games back in '95.
Oh no shit! I didn't know that.
Crazy Mike's had the Sega CD games, and they had a Jaguar for a while too. I mean, they just.
I think I do remember the Jaguar actually. I think I remember seeing it up there because
because they had that little couch and table set up because they wanted people to check out the Jaguar, and it's like holding that controller. I was just like, oh man, it's funny. I have a Jaguar now, but I never play it. It's just sitting in a box. I really should.
Right.
I really should at least do a video on it or something. But it's cool to see we could experience it. We can actually go to the store and just just pick up something and look at the back of the box and say, oh, here's what the game looks like. Okay, cool. Now I know what the game's called. You can't really do that with emulators. You just look at the title and say there'll be a game that's just called Deja Vu. Deja Vu. That whatever.
Sounds pretty boring.
Yeah, but if you check it out, I mean, I like
Really
Deja
good.
Vu. When you actually check it out, you're like, oh, it's actually pretty cool, or whatever, or whatever game,
Right.
It's a different time for sure. I mean, fortunately now some Raspberry Pi systems have not just the title, but it'll have at least the box art, maybe a little bit of a clip of the game playing and stuff like that. But there's just a glut of information for all these lost games that are out there.
Oh, dude.
I know. Which is why we turn to YouTube once again. It's like,
well, I was gonna say, dude, because on Miami, the only thing that I really had that's modded for just old school systems and whatnot outside of the original systems that I own is I have an original Xbox that straight up me and my friend Dustin we bought 2 original Xboxes because we'd seen online that you can there's a way to mod it with Siphon Filter or whatever. And so we went through this process and we ended up getting one of them and it straight up was already modded, dude. It came pre-modded. So, and it still played the original Xbox game. So he's just I'll just take it, dude. So I was gonna say is I'll use your your YouTube page or Angry Video Gamer and just watch videos and just be oh, okay, I never heard of that game. I'm gonna go play it because I have it on the emulator. And if it's that cool, it's dude, I'll straight up buy an original copy of it if it's not so expensive at least. No,
that's a good way to do it too. I mean that's why emulators exist, is we have these ROMs today to kind of preserve video game history, to say this was a real thing that happened once upon a time. And I mean even any more so, especially with old Nintendo games. Yeah, it's cool to play. It's cool to pop in the cartridge and actually play it on a screen. But anymore, if you buy the game legit, you're not doing Capcom any favors, or Konami. I mean, if you buy a game, that company has already made its money from selling that game. Now 100% of the money is going to the reseller. So unless you find it cheap and you want to have that, that actual copy of the game. Yeah.
Dude, I'm all about physical media right now, man. I know you can't really see it, but around me, dude, I have a pretty good collection of VHS tapes around me, dude.
Dude, nice.
Yeah.
Well, there's some VHS. I mean, there's a lot of VHS tapes that never made its way to DVD. So I mean, again, going back to that physical media. That's we might be lost without it. There's a few VHS I can think of that we've had on videotape, but they don't have it on DVD. I can't just unless somebody put it from VHS to a DVD and then sold me the the bootleg DVD or something.
Sold you the bootleg, yeah.
I know, yeah. Some of those older shows anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I think one of the coolest things though was going back and just going on eBay and buying up a shit ton of wrestling VHS tapes. Because to me, that was always the best part about going to because Crazy Mike's had a really good wrestling section, I thought. Them and,
they really did.
Sunburst Video. Yeah. I don't know if you remember Sunburst Video. They had a really.
Oh, of course I do. Yeah, they were. That was outside of my walking. I mean, my dad was always working, and my mom didn't drive, so I lived right down the street from Nob Hill Plaza, which is now Rainier Square. So I mean, I had that. That was my neighborhood. Sunburst was one of those I had to bum a ride off of someone else, and then a couple of days later. You only get the game for 3 days. It's return.
You're gonna return it.
I know. Yeah. Or you gotta take the bus or something, and get a transfer. Oof.
Yeah, I don't even remember like why, like how, because like we didn't, my parents didn't, like my mom, like I should say, because like a single mom and all that, but like her boyfriend, like I may have like worked down there or something, but like somehow we ended up down at Sunburst like on a weekly basis, and I just remember the wrestling section was like right next to all the Spanish tapes, so just every
nice.
week, dude, just going in there and then checking out the horror
Yeah.
section, dude. It's like I don't know, there's something cool about going and like rebuying your childhood, dude. Like I made it a mission that I went and rebought all the original Nightmare on Elm Streets, the media release, like yeah. So like dude, it's just like it's fucking kid in the candy store. I hate to use that term again, dude, but like whenever I talk about like physical media and like it's just it's the best, dude.
No, I'm a huge anime fan, and it was a gigantic anime fan in the 90s, like
Nice.
mid to late 90s,
Nice.
big time. And there was like the little sliver of a shelf, like half a shelf at Blockbuster or at Crazy Mike's. I was like, oh, here's, it's always like the special interest. So it's like right next to like the National Geographic
Right.
travel shows. Then there's like, Akira and Vampire Hunter D and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And,
Mhm.
but no, just the other day, literally at Goodwill, somebody apparently traded in a whole bunch of anime VHS. So I was able to pick up, $1 each. They had like, all these Ranma tapes and, a couple of smaller series. They also had like, they didn't have Star Wars, but they had Empire and Jedi, but like the CBS video.
Yeah, no, that's like the original
without
release,
the
right?
edit. Yeah, like without the updates and all that. So I was happy to find that, But there every once in a while. Hold on, I'll be right back for a
Yeah,
second.
for sure. And we are still on the podcast. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, how you guys all doing? John Riggs, welcome back.
You talk about VHS at Goodwill. I found this for $1. We got
Oh, whoa, dude. I remember that.
the commercial for this. You can learn to speak French.
Dude, I remember seeing that on the USA Network, dude.
Yeah,
I
they
remember
used to-
I remember seeing the commercial for that. Holy
I
shit,
know,
dude.
exactly.
That's so cool.
So when I saw this, I was like, dude, I gotta get it. So you talk about physical media.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just you gotta take care of this stuff, and I mean, and it's also on. I mean, it's on film too, which is which will not last forever.
Yeah, it's unfortunate,
So we
dude.
just
Like,
preserve what we have in the meantime.
Yeah.
Anyway.
yeah, and I'm one of those guys that's like, I'll buy it multiple times. I'll buy it on the VHS. I'll buy it on the DVD, the Blu-ray, and if it comes out in the 4K, dude, it's just because a lot of times, like the original
Right.
VHS, well, the VHS ones, I just typically don't even watch them, just kind of for collection, I guess, in a sense, dude. So, maybe
Sure.
if I have like another copy of it or something, I'll watch that one. But you got to protect those VHS tapes.
You do. I had a couple of them. My old VCR player ate the last 2 tapes I tried to watch it. So I can get them back. I mean, I can go on eBay and buy the tapes again. It's not a big deal, and it's just classic animation type stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, anymore so I'm so nervous to try anything else. So it's almost like I want to buy it like physical and then keep it safe, and then I'll like download it digitally and watch that one.
Dude, that's another thing, man. I mean, like we talk about physical media, like I do have a true passion also for digital media as well, dude. I think like having a digital catalog of movies is like, because I just was like, from like buying the Blu-rays and stuff, I was going through my iTunes account, dude. I was like, fucking, I have like over 200 movies on this thing. Like, where the hell did all these movies come from? It's like, and it's cool to have because like I really enjoy just being able to be on the go, man, just popping that out and watching a movie. Because like I'm really trying to like. I try to stay off like social media a lot of times just because you kind of get entrenched in scrolling and whatnot. So like I'm like, okay, we'll just watch a movie instead,
Right.
Listen to a podcast or listen to music and stuff. So it's really cool to be able to watch a movie on the go for sure.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, especially traveling or something like that too. And I mean, and YouTube's decent at that. Like if you have YouTube, this is gonna sound like a commercial, but like with the YouTube Premium, if you pay the extra bucks for it or whatever, you can download the movies and watch them later, like on your account. So like when it comes to traveling, it's cool that you can just go in and instead of using the Wi-Fi or whatever, you can just kind of watch it on the go when you have.
I hear that. Yeah.
When you have the chance or whatever,
Yeah.
and I'll do that for podcasts on YouTube. If I'm driving to Seattle or something, so instead of just using like my data. Which I don't have the unlimited nonsense. 'Cause I'm almost always in a Wi-Fi zone.
Right.
I'm either here or I'm at work. So I'm usually the only time I ever use my data is like I'm scrolling through something, waiting in the drive-through or something like that. And almost all drive-throughs have Wi-Fi anymore either. So.
Well, dude, like the new cars, man. I've seen that. Like they straight up like have Wi-Fi in them, dude. Like I got in my friend's car. And it's like, what's up with this, dude? It's like you connect to it. It's like I don't think it's that the technology may not be like there yet because like we drove over the mountains. It was like pretty spotty in
Well,
some spots, but it's still, the idea is there, I guess.
Yeah, it's made for flatter land. Here in the Northwest, we have, the Cascades are dividing us between us
That's
and
a
Seattle
good
and all
point.
that. So,
Yeah, I guess if we were driving down in Texas to Oklahoma, it wouldn't be such a problem.
nah, I think we'll be all right. Yeah, just heading south or something like that, maybe.
Yeah,
avoiding
dude,
avoiding the Rockies.
No, exactly, man. Yeah, no, and like you mentioned it earlier about knowing the Angry Video Gamer. I wanted to ask you, like, how did that come about? Because like you actually appeared on one of his episodes here within the last year. Is that correct?
I did, yeah. It was an episode where he talks about the Aladdin Deck Enhancer, which was is a kind of a third-party Nintendo product, not made by or licensed by Nintendo, but it was their answer to kind of how Nintendo games are built. It has I usually have a circuit board around here too. I wish I don't see. I almost always have one nearby. Anyway, but it has like the game with the circuit board on it, and the Aladdin Deck Enhancer was just. It was their idea of like, let's build most of the game here, but then the actual game part of it will just be another chip that you add to that one and pop that in your system. And so in the episode, the spoiler alert is at the end of the episode. He's like, "Oh, this thing's so terrible. Let's blow them all up." And I know I've met him a couple of times, like James Rolfe.
Right.
I've met him 2 or 3 times, but I'm good friends with his producer, the guy who does the editing and producing and all that. So he was the one who reached out to me saying, "Hey,
nice.
do you want to be in, and do you know anyone else who would like to be in this video?" So that's when I called up some of my other friends saying, "Hey, if you want to, no big deal. You just need 10 seconds of you, and you don't even have to have the Aladdin Deck Enhancer, because they'll edit it in later and blow it up later, or whatever." As luck would have it, I actually had one. So
wow.
I was actually able to hold up my one that I had.
Right.
And then they added the explosion thing to it. But it was cool because it was, here's this guy that, many people revere as kind of like the godfather of retro gaming on YouTube, for doing these videos way before a lot of other people were doing
It's
them.
a fair assessment. Yeah, I think a lot of people.
Or just and consistently doing them. Like, it wasn't like he did it for a while, then took a break, then comes back 3 years later, consistently doing something on YouTube. So, and shout out to him for doing all that. And, before it was just him, but now he has a huge team of people.
Right.
And again, him personally, like, I don't have his number or anything like that. I met him a few times. We were both in a drinking competition where we lost, unfortunately.
Oh no.
It was at a convention in California where we were both on the same team, but couldn't keep up with the other guys across the table. But cool dude, and completely the opposite of his on-screen persona. Like when you see him more talking about like when he's like in the video store talking about movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's him. Just chill, relaxed. If you ever meet him, he's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks, yeah." Totally cool.
Nice,
but again, it was his producer who reached out to me and said,
That's
"Hey, you want to do this thing?" I was like, "Sure." And then when he did the other video, because I'm also a huge cereal guy, I love breakfast cereal. I'm as nostalgic for breakfast cereal as I am like video games and movies and stuff. But they did the video on Chex Quest. So that's when he reached out to me saying, "Hey, do you have a box for Chex Quest? Like, do you have this? You have the Chex? Do you have the Chex box for that thing?" I was like, "I don't, but I know some cereal collectors who do." Now I have some cereal boxes, but I have friends who have like hundreds in their collection. They actually collect cereal boxes.
Oh wow, dude, cool.
Unfortunately, only one of them did, but he didn't want to give it up, and it turned into more of a like, "Well, you can borrow it, but you need to fly me in, so I'm near it at all times." Where I was like, "That's not worth it." But fortunately, I had. Not that I have a whole lot of ins, but I kind of know someone who works at General Mills.
Oh,
so
cool.
I was able to say like, "Hey, you probably don't, but do you happen to have an old box, like press folded or something of Chex Quest for this video we're doing? It's going to be on a popular channel. We'll give you love for it. We'll give you a shout out for it." And they didn't, but they were able to send me the scan of here's the Chex Quest, like just like the layout, so you could print it off and fold it up and everything. So he was able to do it for that. So he did that and then wrapped it around a Chex box, and then you couldn't tell the difference, I guess. But
dude, that's so cool, dude.
It's just, so just stuff like that. It's all just networking, and going to these conventions helps because you can talk to other people, and and then just like with anything, you never know. You also never know who's watching. Just like with AJ Styles, who reached out to me saying, "Hey, dude, I watch your channel," or it reminds me of when Metal Jesus.
Cool.
My buddy Metal Jesus, he was just like, "Oh, it's so weird when." There was an interview with I forgot his name, but it was like one of the guitarists for Weezer, and they were like, well, what do you do in your spare time? He's like, oh, I like watching a lot of YouTube. I watch this guy, and I watch Metal Jesus, and I watch this other guy, and but he was like,
whoa.
the guitar, because you never know who's
Yeah.
watching. You just
drops his name like that. That's cool, dude. Yeah, I mean, like, shit, dude. You can only hope for shit like that, like you said, dude. With AJ Styles hitting you up like that, dude. That's awesome.
No, I know it for sure. I mean, it's just you never, yeah,
You
just
never know.
you never know. You never know. Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta act like a million people are watching you at every moment, I suppose.
I know, and it's funny because I act like no one's watching me at any given time. I'm doing it for myself,
Yeah,
And
I understand.
staring at a camera. I had a few years ago. There's a nerdcore guy I like called Mega Ran.
Oh, I know Mega Ran. Yeah.
Yeah. So and I happen to like. I mean, I had one of his. I think I had like one or two of his CDs, and I popped them in the car, and he's a hip hop guy rapping about being a nerd and video games and wrestling and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I like the lyrics of this guy. That's cool. But then he hit me up once upon a time, just like, hey, I heard you do like video game hacks. Can you make me one? I was like, I could, sure. So I made him one and sent it to him, and and he streamed it a couple of times, and I've since ran into him at conventions, and it's still kind of weird for me because like I see him as like, oh my god, here's this guy that I really like. I listen to his CDs in my car. And then he sees me, and he's like, "Oh, hey, Johnny Riggs." I was like, "Oh, that's right. He knows my name. That's weird."
No, dude.
Because I'm still some dude. I mean, and I should not that I should never get used to it, but also being in radio, I've been in radio for 20 years, and so I go up on stage at Rob Zombie and ladies and gentlemen, Yakima, here's Rob Zombie.
You gotta introduce Rob Zombie, dude.
Well, or whoever. I mean, I didn't introduce
cool.
Rob Zombie. I did meet him once.
Okay.
But I've introduced other bands.
Yeah.
Or just the quick, like the backstage, like to get the VIP, get the ticket winners back there, and meet the band, and you take a picture, and I had a picture. So I've done that a few times. So it's not like it's work. I mean, I do it because it's my job.
Yeah.
There's one time I had to go backstage to Miranda Lambert, country singer Miranda Lambert, and I felt like an idiot because here I am, I'm in line, and all these people are really getting excited to see Miranda Lambert in Yakima. They're gonna meet her, and get her picture taken and everything. And I have this guitar for her to sign for this charity event that we're doing. Yeah. Because I was our head of promotions at the time. Mm-hmm. And I literally in line had to Google Miranda Lambert to see what she looked like because I didn't have a clue. I was like, I want to make sure I get the card to the right person. I looked her up, and then as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh, I have seen her before. I've seen her before. Okay. Yeah. I felt better now, but it's like, you do it for work, but then when you meet these people, they always say never meet your heroes because they always end up being assholes. But so far I've been pretty fortunate where everyone's been pretty cool.
It's been pretty cool. Yeah, dude. I was gonna say, dude, Mega Ran, dude. I remember I guess it was like must have been like 4 or 5 years ago at this point, dude. But he actually played here in Yakima. He played a show.
He did.
Yeah.
And I remember that, and that's right around when I first heard about him. And I was like, I wonder where he's gonna be. I wonder if he's going on tour anytime soon. That's when I saw Yakima. Like that's weird.
Yeah.
And I missed the show because I was sick.
It was a random Monday show, dude. It was unfortunate there wasn't a lot of people there, dude. But like the people that were there were definitely fans of Mega Ran. So it was like nice. It was like this real intimate show, dude. I ended up winning like a copy of like because he was giving out like he was doing some wrestling trivia, and he was giving out copies of was it WrestleMania or WWE 2Ks? The one with Stone Cold on the cover. I forget what.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
15 or 17 or something.
Oh, fun.
Maybe 16.
I'm sorry I missed out.
Yeah, dude, but like I straight up just like he's like, who's in the first main event of WrestleMania? It's like Mr. Paul Orndorff, Bob
that's
Orton.
right.
It's like I was just like so on it, dude. It was cool. And then like actually I don't know if I'm sure if you know Mega Ran, MC Lars, MC Chris.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, dude. So like MC Lars had like just like sent out like on his mailing list, that he was going to be playing through Seattle up at the El Corazon. So just thought because I did that TV show, dude, for like 9 years, and we used to do this thing called Spin This Presents, where we'd have like local bands come into the Yakima Public Access studio. And and like promote him and stuff, and like do an interview. So I just for shits and giggles, I sent him a message. I'm like, hey man, any chance I can come up there and like interview you and have you on our TV show? And he's like, oh dude, totally. So like we went up there, like. We got to meet MC Chris like before the show. We got to meet MC Lars and Studio Expose, and like got to do it after the show and stuff. And like, yeah, dude, totally like straight up nice guy.
Yeah, it's free to ask. I mean, I keep thinking that because I view them. I mean, I view people like Mega Ran and MC. I mean, MC Chris has been around for years and years.
Yeah.
But I view them like most people view like Metallica.
Yeah.
Where it's like they're going to decline. They're not going to talk to me. They're not going to answer my email.
Yeah.
And I thought about that too with Mega Ran because it was afterwards. I mean, it sucks that I was sick. I couldn't go. But I was also on the radio at the time. I was like, man, I should have at least reached out saying, well, I mean, I'm a radio DJ. Do you want to come on the air with me? You know,
Oh,
and
right, yeah.
he would have totally
Good point.
accepted. I mean, knowing him
Totally.
now, he would have been
Yeah.
there. He would have been there
Oh,
the
yeah.
entire time.
100%, dude.
Yeah,
Oh.
you know, all in retrospect now, I guess.
No, I mean,
You never know. It doesn't hurt to ask. You
It
know,
doesn't hurt, dude. I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, dude. Like, no, go ahead.
you reach out to me. I was gonna say. I mean, this is like, you know,
I kind of feel like the same way, dude. Like I said, like this is our first time like getting to know each other. Like I like using this podcast to meet people, like talk to people I've never even talked to. So it's like, you know, I've seen you, I've watched your videos, man, and like, and again, I know you through like, you know, Timmy and whatnot.
we happen to be in Yakima. Yeah, and I'm surprised we haven't run into each other in the store yet or something like that. You know, I'm always shopping somewhere anyway. You know,
Yeah.
at
Well,
least
if you're in the
daily,
West
seems like.
Valley area, man, I may run into you one of these days.
I'm in the West Valley area. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I
So-
go to the Walmart almost daily. I go to the I mean, Dairy Queen is kind of our fast food
Dude.
choice. You know,
Aw.
gotta get the chicken strips. I'm not big for
Love
fast
it.
food. I can't really do cheeseburgers, but I'm down for chicken strips with
Dude,
that
their
gravy.
chicken strips are the best, dude. If like hands down, Dairy Queen chicken strips.
They are.
They're better than
mean,
anywhere else.
People hype up the KFC gravy, but do not discount the Dairy Queen, that country gravy, man.
You can't fuck with it.
That's why I'm the shape I am, is by that.
No, I hear you, man. I hear you, dude. Well,
Yeah,
John
and I love
Riggs,
Rosars too.
Oh, dude.
Rosars has the best butcher and the best bakery in town for a
Dude.
grocery store.
Dude, their bakery is the shit, dude. I went there and got a cake for my kid's birthday, dude. And just like on the reg, dude, like they're anytime like anything in their deli area, dude, it's definitely legit for sure.
Yeah, well, the trick is because they like Ray's bakes it fresh in house. Other places,
Exactly.
like a Fred Meyer, and I love Fred Meyer, but like a Fred Meyer in a Safeway, it all comes pre-frozen, so that's why all the donuts look the same. You know, but
Oh,
you
that's
know,
good. Oh, damn, that sucks. Actually,
Rosars will Rosars will do it fresh. And if there's something that doesn't have cream in it, you can make literally any donut cream filled. Not that I would
Okay.
recommend it.
wow.
You just have to ask. I did
Just have to
one
ask
because I did one just to see if they would. They're like, of course.
Yeah.
What? How many? It's like, oh my god.
Dude, I
On
was
that note,
yeah, no, I know we'll wrap up here in a second, dude. But on that note, I was at the deli here last week because you know, it's getting like turkey meat and whatnot. I was all looking up there. I was like, you know, they have a whole menu for sandwiches, and I was like, I never realized it, like that they did sandwiches there, like straight up pre-made sandwiches. And I was like, you guys make sandwiches? They're like, dude, we've been making sandwiches for like 10 years. Like, where you been, Kevin?
yeah,
I
I
don't
never
know.
think about it. I make my own because they have all the ingredients
Yeah.
right there. You know, I just make that. That's yeah, but that's also where I go for that too. So if you happen to stop by Rosars, sometimes you might see either me or you or both of us at any given time.
The deli bakery section, right?
Yeah, decent beer selection too there at Rosars. So
They do.
I'm always a fan.
They do.
Oh,
They
yeah.
do have a really good beer selection there. Fucking Rosars is a good store, dude. Straight up.
It
If
is.
anything people
I know.
take away from this podcast is go fucking shop Rosars, dude.
I think it's hyper local. I think it's probably based out of Spokane or something.
I
but-
think so. Yeah. Well, right on,
I
dude.
like it.
Well, I thank you so much for coming on the podcast here today, dude.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Any final plugs before you get out of here?
No, you know, my name is John Riggs, and that's exactly where you can find me on YouTube. Is just my name, John Riggs. You'll see video game stuff, usually probably me pointing at a game or something. And then John Blue Riggs on Twitter and Instagram. Hit me up anytime.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kevin Porter for John Riggs. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
This podcast has been brought to you by Pizon Productions.